Hello and welcome back to Kim Reads. We will be reading A Day with the Pet Doctor by Catherine Poindexter from the Book of Barbie Stories. Courtney was so excited. Dr. Barbie had invited her to spend the day at her animal clinic. Courtney thought she might like to be a pet doctor too one day. How did you know you wanted to be a pet doctor? Courtney asked as Barbie drove them to the clinic. I've always loved animals, Barbie said. When I was in the 4th grade, I guessed how many marbles were in the jar. Won a contest. Guess what I won? A book about animals, Courtney guessed. Even better, Barbie said. A kitten. I named her Cuddles. She was my very first pet. Barbie grinned. Maybe that's when it was all began. At Barbie's animal clinic, Courtney was made to see all kinds of animals. Dogs, cats, birds, even a rabbit. I guess being a pet doctor is almost like having dozens of pets, she exclaimed. In a way, Dr. Barbie agreed, but they can only stay here until they get well. Just then, a girl named Megan hurried into the office. She was carrying a big box with a beautiful black cat inside. Oh, Dr. Barbie, she cried, I'm really worried about Midnight. She's been acting strange and meowing a lot, and her tummy's swollen. Do you think she has a stomach ache? Dr. Barbie led the two girls into an examining room. Then she gently lifted Midnight out of the box and placed her on the table. Courtney and Megan watched Dr. Barbie examining the meowing cat. Don't worry, Megan, Dr. Barbie said at last with a reassuring smile. I know what's wrong with Midnight. Courtney and Megan looked at each other. What could be wrong with Midnight that would make Dr. Barbie smile? Why don't you leave Midnight here for a few hours, Dr. Barbie said. Come back around noon. Okay, Megan said, trying not to worry. Courtney watched as Barbie examined her next patient. He was a little dog who barked happily and wagged its tail. I'm glad to see you too again, Rascal, Dr. Barbie said, patting the dog. Rascal doesn't look sick to me, Courtney said. Not all animals who come to me here are hurt or sick, Dr. Barbie explained. Just like people, animals need checkups to stay healthy. Barbie gave Rascal his vaccination, shots to keep him from getting sick. I had to get shots from my doctor when I started school, Courtney said. Right, just like Rascal, said Dr. Barbie. See his tags? Courtney nodded. I know what they're there for. They show that he's had his shots, and one has his name and address in case he gets lost. Barbie checked on several animals, and she picked up her medical kit and headed for the door. Come on, Courtney, she said. Courtney was disappointed. Do I have to go home already? She said. Barbie laughed. Of course not, but not all my patients can come to my office, so we get to go see them. You mean some poor animal is so sick they can't even come to the office? Courtney said, worried. Not too sick, Barbie answered, just too big. When Barbie drove up to a nearby farm, Courtney saw what Barbie meant. A horse! Courtney cried. The farmer's owner, Mr. Green, and his daughter Ashley were leading a horse out of the barn. Star Dancer cut her nose trying to open her stall, Ashley explained as Dr. Barbie and Courtney approached them. Barbie examined the horse. It's not too serious, she said, and then she turned to Star Dancer. But you'll have to be good and keep that cut clean until it heals, she told the horse. Courtney actually laughed. But Barbie, Courtney wondered, how do you get a horse to wash its face? I have a trick, Barbie explained. She and the girls filled a big bucket of clean water. Now we have something special. Medicine? Courtney guessed. No, apples, Barbie said with a laugh. That's Star Dancer's favorite treat, Ashley cried. Ashley ran to get some apples. Sure enough, Star Dancer was more happy then to dunk her nose into the bucket of clean water to bob for them. "Thanks, Dr. Barbie," Ashley said happily. On the way back to the office, Dr. Barbie had to hit the brakes. A puppy dashed out on the street in front of her car. Barbie got out to make sure the puppy was alright, and then she spoke to the dog's owner. "It's very important to keep your dog on a leash," she explained, "especially a puppy who hasn't learned to understand and obey your commands." The boy promised to do as Dr. Barbie asked. When Barbie and Courtney got back to the animal clinic, Barbie checked on the animals in the kennel. "We had to keep some animals here overnight," she explained. "Some stay until we're sure they're well enough to go home. Others stay here while their owners are away." "Like a hotel?" Courtney asked. "Pretty much," Barbie answered. Just as they returned to the waiting room, Megan rushed back into the office. "Oh, Dr. Barbie," she cried, "I've been so worried about Midnight. Were you able to make her well?" "She's going to be fine," Dr. Barbie assured her. "Come on, let's see how she's doing," Dr. Barbie whispered to him the door. "I believe Midnight may have a surprise for you." Wide-eyed, the girls tiptoed in the room. "Kittens!" Megan and Courtney exclaimed together. There was Midnight, resting peacefully with her new kitten snuggled around her. "How many are there?" Courtney asked quietly. Megan counted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, she said. "Aren't they cute? Oh, thank you, Dr. Barbie." Dr. Barbie smiled. "The new kittens have to stay with their mother for at least 6 weeks, Dr. Barbie explained. "You might want to start looking for new homes for them." "If my mom says it's okay, could I have one?" Courtney asked. "Sure," said Megan. "And you didn't even have to guess how many marbles there were in her jar like I did," Barbie said with a grin. And that's the end of that story. Thanks for listening.